you seen Star Wars?
The Star Wars fandom is huge. I think we all forget sometimes just how popular this franchise is. Some statistics even say that Star Wars fans make up 1 in 4 internet users worldwide. There's at least 13 million diehard Star Wars fans who have actively engaged in the community, kind of like we do if you're following YouTube channels like myself or being a YouTube channel about Star Wars. But if I've noticed anything over the past 10 years, it's just how diverse the community is and the sub-communities there are in the fandom, which leads to the question, what is your Star Wars major? Before we get into today's topic, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. But this topic was brought up on Tumblr, and it says, tried explaining the Star Wars fandom to my dad and settled on the simile that Star Wars is too big and fucked up to know everything, and you sort of just have to choose a major like Mandalore Studies or Jedi Lineage, and then we all come together but do not get along, just like real academia. Anyway, what's your major? And I honestly don't think I've seen a better summarization of the fandom as a whole. I remember when I first started my Star Wars Instagram page, a big part of my interest in Star Wars was the saber community. I would buy from these companies that made lightsabers for other fans, and some of these were truly beautiful. I mean, I even watched YouTube channels that only reviewed sabers. I mean, I can't even remember half the names anymore. I mean, it's literally almost been 10 years at this point, but they made thousands of dollars. These sabersmiths would make their own custom lightsabers. They would sell them to people who would want custom lightsabers, and there would be this one guy, I think his name was like Hampton Handcrafted Lightsabers or something like that. He had like a wait list of like 2 or 3 years. I mean, there's just such a weird popularity among these people, and these people would make their livelihoods off of selling lightsabers, and there would be these huge forums of people who would even make your own lightsabers. I mean, there's a big one that's called Custom Saber Shop. I mean, you have no idea how big that subsection of the Star Wars fandom is, and it's crazy that that is such a big section that you can really study it, honestly. If you want to become a major in it, would be like sabersmithing or lightsaber studies, but you get my point. I mean, it is just such a huge part of the community that you can dedicate a lot of hours and time to, and you're going to have so many other people involved with it as well. And there's also things in the Star Wars stories that you can major in. Plenty of prequel fans are also die-hard Clone Wars enthusiasts, and I'm not just talking about like the show, I'm talking about they learn about the ship models of that era and the types of clone troopers there are, and they know a lot about the clones and their personalities, and like there's just so much knowledge that you can learn about these characters in that time period that you can make an entire class on Star Wars or make it your Star Wars major. I know that the Old Republic would be a very popular era to study as well, and that would be something I guess you could consider a history major due to the amount of stories in history that are surrounding that time period, and that goes on for thousands of years. I mean, I remember being like 12 or 13 and my mom having taken me to work or something like that, and I would watch like SWTOR videos on her iPad and learn about the history of like the Old Republic, Revan, of course Darth Bane, and just everything that came before them. I mean, SWTOR itself is also a game with such a huge community and like these big channels as well on YouTube that have been going on for now 10 years, and a lot of lore around that would be something that you could possibly minor in because it's just a video game, but it also brings in a lot of expanded universe stuff. And of course you can't forget the expanded universe. I mean, that has like 2 stories to it that you can learn about and study, which is the history of how it happened and whether it was canon, what kind of canon it was, and how that's affected everything since, and how it influences Star Wars to this day. And then you have like what actually happens in the expanded universe, the Yuuzhan Vong War, the Heir to the Empire trilogy. I mean, there's so many stories in that people still are very passionate about, and it's not like it's a community that's not thriving anymore. It's still active, it's still strong, and you can still get books from the expanded universe and learn a lot about them, and there's so many books that you can read. So personally, I would say that one of my Star Wars majors would be the behind the scenes production stuff about the movies. I mean, I want to see another Star Wars fan that can name me all 5 Lucasfilm presidents, because I haven't seen it yet. So far, I'm not just trying to be egotistical, but if I can be knowledgeable about one thing in Star Wars, it is this: I can name all 5 Lucasfilm presidents, and I don't think anyone else can at the moment, except for Pablo Hidalgo. Thank you. I find Lucasfilm history and production stories fascinating because of how it all impacted the film industry in very influential ways. You guys can tell by the documentaries that I make on my channel just how much I'm interested in that kind of stuff. So I think another major I would be interested in is something surrounding the Force. I love learning about the Sith and their history and the powers they have, how it works, and of course the Jedi and their views of the Force and the prophecy. The Mortis arc is personally my favorite in Clone Wars because of the ones, like the gods, like the father, the son, the daughter. That is stuff that I would like to see more in Star Wars, so it's easily something I think people would want to major in and learn about. I may forget this because I'm so actively involved in the Star Wars community on multiple platforms and just different areas, but I forget, how vast the Star Wars fandom is, and there's so many areas you can learn about and become an enthusiast. My interest over the years has constantly changed, and I'm sure yours have as well. I started out being really into the Old Republic, that transferred into being into lightsabers and sabersmithing, that eventually got me into the behind-the-scenes production stuff and how all of that works, and that eventually got me into learning more about George Lucas himself and studying, his life and how Star Wars was kind of made and the history of Lucasfilm, and realizing how big of an impact Lucasfilm had and all of that. And so that got me naturally into filmmaking. It got me my first camera operator job, and so now I'm into that kind of stuff. So it's crazy how not only this can impact your life in the strangest ways, but also it can just impact your interest over life and time. So tell me what you take away from Star Wars in terms of what would be your Star Wars major. What is something, of course you have Star Wars that you're into, but what is that subsection of Star Wars that you're into? Is there a certain era? Is there a certain community that you're very active in that's kind of more diehard about this part of Star Wars than you are? I mean, there's the High Republic, there's the Old Republic, there's Mandalorian studies, there's Clone Wars, then you have droid building, you have people who build Star Wars rooms, you have people who build lightsabers. I mean, there's so many things that you can be into in Star Wars. It's crazy just to think that we don't see that all the time because we have our own little tunnel vision. But thank you guys for watching. Leave a like on today's video to help me beat the YouTube algorithm, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe for more content like this. Check out Chatooine Show. We do it every Wednesday night. Follow the official YouTube channel as well as our social media accounts. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you always.